Mrs. Irene Obum-Neme, a pregnant woman and the wife of Stephen Obum-Neme Nwosu, who was allegedly shot dead on Valentine's Day around Amufi Junction along Benin Agbo Road in Benin City, the Edo state capital, has cried out to well-meaning individuals and civil society organizations to help her prevail on President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the Chief of Defense Staff, General Olufemi Oluyede, and the 4th Brigade of the Nigerian Army to bring the suspected murderer of her husband to justice, stating that she has no knowledge if the soldier who allegedly committed the murder is actually being prosecuted, saying, till date, the family has no information about the identity of the alleged killer or any legal action taken by the military authority to make the killer soldier face full wrath of the law, adding that the corpse of her husband has been in the mortuary since the incident occurred on February 14, 2026, because the family believed if the husband is buried, they may never get justice and the case may be swept under the carpet. The bereaved pregnant woman made the appeal in a 21-minute video made available to us fortnight ago after we had earlier reported that the family of Stephen Obum-Neme Nwosu has accused the armed forces of Nigeria, AFN led by General Olufemi Oluyede, the Nigeria Chief of Defense Staff, of attempted acts to cover up a soldier who allegedly murdered a young man, Stephen Obum-Neme Nwosu, on February 14, 2026, Valentine's Day, along Benin Agbo Road around Amufi Junction in Edo State. This, according to the family member who pleaded for her names not to be mentioned in the press, said her brother was shot dead by the soldier after the deceased refused to hand over his car key to the soldier as demanded, saying, her brother only went out with his friend, she identified as Godwin Coco, to get chicken feed when they encountered the soldier at the failed portion of the road that is currently under construction, saying, the Nigerian army has refused to disclose the names of the soldier who allegedly committed the act of murder or take appropriate lawful actions against the suspected murderer, and in a swift reaction, when our reporter contacted the public relations officer of 4th Brigade of the Nigerian Army, Captain Kennedy Anyanwu, via a phone call on Thursday evening, the military authority said it is not true that the soldier in question has not been identified, saying, the matter has been settled. And when our reporter demanded to know how the alleged murder case was settled with the family, the military authority refused to give details. Also, when our reporter contacted the Edo State Command of the Nigeria Police Force Public Relations Officer, ASP Noakodum, the police authority said the matter is under investigation, and barely a day after President Donald Trump of the United States of America, the USA announced the killing of Abu Bilal al-Minuki, the second in command of the Islamic State in Iraq and Syria, ISIS, in a joint operation with Nigeria soldiers in Borno State. A new video of the abducted 416 women and children in Boko Haram captivity has been released, in addition to a gory video earlier released by the terrorists wherein they beheaded almost 6 men who the insurgents said tried to escape among the kidnapped victims. This had led to public outcry and demonstrations, but according to Punch newspaper, protesters are reportedly denied the rights to protest in Maiduguri, the Borno state capital, saying, the army reportedly deployed tanks and heavily armed personnel to Filling Polo, the venue of the recent planned protest, forcing the demonstrators to withdraw, quoting Sumaila Kaigama, leader of the protesters, as saying, the atmosphere created by the military deployment made it impossible for citizens to continue with the demonstration, that the development is deeply disturbing in a constitutional democracy. It may be recalled that we had reported that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu of Nigeria may have kept mute since more than 48 hours a faction of the Boko Haram terrorists showed off 416 people, mostly women and children, kidnapped and held hostage when the members of the Jama'atu Ali Sunnah Liderawati wal Jihad, JAZ, launched a large-scale combat actions between 4th to the 6th of March 2026 against the men of the Armed Forces of Nigeria, AFN, overran the Africa country military base at Ngosh, killing several soldiers, a figure the Nigeria authority disputed to be 14 after several reports indicated that more than 40 soldiers were killed during the attack. in addition to more than 100 civilians including Chief Imam of Ngosh alongside the community elders killed during the coordinated attacks that lasted days at Ngosh community in Gwoza local government area of Borno State. During the attacks, numbers of people were also taken hostage by the insurgents, with speculations indicating that the hostages are apparently being held at the rugged terrain of the Mandara Mountains, which sit wide across the Nigeria border with Cameroon. In the released video, one of the spokespersons of the Boko Haram group said they decided to release a proof-of-life video of the 416 women and children in their captivity, following the demands made across to them by the Borno South Youths Alliance, Bosya, and according to the statement issued by the Bosya when they made the video public on Friday, April 10, 2026. The youths group called on federal government and governments at all levels to ensure the hostages are released. It may not be wrong to say one of the major root causes of crimes, poverty, poor healthcare, suicides, killings and avoidable deaths today in the world is superstitious beliefs mixed with severe psychological manipulation, religious and spiritual delusions that often lead to family members abandoning their loved ones, especially their parents for fear of being bewitched, doomed or suffered from the delusional curse or spell superstitiously believed had been placed on their parents or loved ones, and this act, do also lead to the accused family members committing suicides or being banished, beaten, or even killed by jungle justice, and in line with the numerous cases documented globally and locally, we have seen where individuals have committed murder or caused death due to acute spiritual delusions, which in psychiatry, these are often diagnosed as cases of religious psychosis, schizophrenia, or clinical lycanthropy, where the perpetrator cannot separate objective reality from spiritual hallucinations. This may interest you to know that in August 2025, at Atwood Lake in Ohio, United States of America, USA, an Amish mother obviously suffering from a severe spiritual delusion, drowned her 4-year-old son in Atwood Lake. Investigators revealed that both she and her husband believed God was speaking directly to them, demanding ritualistic tasks to prove their worthiness, and as such, she explicitly told the police that the Lord wanted her to perform the sacrifice. This may not also be different from the case of a 22-year-old Nigerian and an engineering student named Benjamin Abenem, whose life seems to heavily revolved around his church, who suffered a sudden psychiatric break in 2025 after his family initially mistook his erratic behavior for a standard demonic attack rather than a medical issue, allegedly driven by the delusion that his mother and sister were witches spiritually plotting to destroy him. He, as a result of that, attacked his family, resulting in the death of his mother, but he was later diagnosed with schizophrenia under clinical custody. It may be recalled that one of the most famous historical cases of spiritual psychosis in the United Kingdom, UK, was the murder of Robert Dadd in 1843 by his son. The English artist, Richard Dadd, stabbed his father to death on account of a delusion that his father was actually the devil in human form, and that he had been chosen by God to battle the forces of evil. This act made him to spend the remainder of his life in psychiatric facilities, and in 2008, a passenger inside a Greyhound bus in Canada, Vince Lee killed a stranger, Tim McLean. Lee claimed that the voice of God told him McLean was an alien or a demon, and that if he did not kill him immediately, the man would come back to life and kill everyone else on the bus. And one of the most recent cases of crimes caused by superstitious beliefs, Edo State Command of the Nigeria Police Force, NPF, has announced the arrest of some serving and already dismissed police officers who worked together as a criminal gang terrorizing members of the public in Edo State. The State Commissioner of Police, Monday Agbonika, who made this known in a press release made available a few hours ago, said the arrest was a major breakthrough against the suspected criminal elements pretending to be law enforcement officers to perpetrate heinous crimes within the state capital, Benin City, and its environs. It may be recalled that there have been outcry by residents in Edo State that law enforcement officers are committing or participating in criminal activities in the state. Specifically, in August 2025, some of policemen alongside some civilians were accused of abducting a resident in Benin City. The syndicate was said to have used the silver Toyota Yaris to terrorize citizens, seizing their phones and belongings through intimidation and armed robbery. in December 2025, 4 policemen were accused of extorting 980,000 nairas from a local artisan, Goodness Onyeka, after assaulting him. Earlier in September 2025, the Edo State Police Command reportedly recovered and returned 300,000 nairas extorted from a furniture maker by officers attached to the Oba Market Area Command in Benin City. May 2025, 6 officers, including a chief superintendent of police, CSP, were summoned to Abuja after a viral video showed them demanding either 5,000 nairas or 5 liters of fuel from motorists for lacking electronic central motor registry, ECMR proof, a policy that had actually been suspended then. Also in August 2025, 6 officers were disciplined for extorting 2 million nairas from members of the National Association of Sea Dogs near Benin City after they reportedly used the point-of-sale (POS) machine to withdraw the funds unlawfully. According to the press statement signed by the Edo State Police Command Public Relations Officer, ASP Eno Akodi, the Edo State Police Command, under the leadership of the Commissioner of Police, Edo State Command, CP Monday Agbonika, FDC, wishes to inform the general public of a major breakthrough in the fight against criminal elements disguising as law enforcement officers to perpetrate heinous crimes within Benin City and its environs. The command had, in recent times, received several complaints from members of the public alleging harassment, abduction, and extortion by individuals posing as police officers. These suspects reportedly operate along Teboga axis off Aduawa, where they unlawfully stop unsuspecting citizens, forcefully convey them around various roads within Benin City, and eventually take them to point of. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu of Nigeria may have kept mute since more than 48 hours. A faction of the Boko Haram terrorists showed off 416 people, mostly women and children, kidnapped and held hostage when the members of the Jama'atu Ali's Sunnah Literati wal Jihad, JAZ, launched a large-scale combat actions between 4th to the 6th of March 2026 against the men of the Armed Forces of Nigeria, AFN, overran the Africa country military base at Ngosh, killing several soldiers, a figure the Nigeria Authority disputed to be 14 after several reports indicated that more than 40 soldiers were killed during the attack, in addition to more than 100 civilians including Chief Imam of Ngosh alongside the community elders killed during the coordinated attacks that lasted days at Ngosh community in Gwoza local government area of Borno State. During the attacks, numbers of people were also taken hostage by the insurgents, with speculations indicating that the hostages are apparently being held at the rugged terrain of the Mandara Mountains, which sit wide across the Nigeria border with Cameroon. That aside, one of the spokespersons of the Boko Haram group said they decided to release a proof-of-life video of the 416 women and children in their captivity, following the demands made across to them by the Borno South Youths Alliance, Bosya, and according to the statement issued by the Bosya when they made the video public on Friday, April 10, 2026. The youths group called on federal government and governments at all levels to ensure the hostages are released, saying specifically that, "We have witnessed cases in states such as Sokoto, Zamfara, Katsina, and Kebbi where abducted victims regained freedom following interventions by individuals such as Sheikh Ahmed Gumi. We therefore expect equal urgency and commitment in addressing the plight of the Ngosh victims. No region or group of citizens should be treated with less priority." In the footage, several women and elderly men were interviewed by the Boko Haram spokesperson. The kidnapped victims' pleas centered on 3 main points directly addressed to President Bola Tinubu, Vice President Kashim Shettima, and Governor Babagana Zulum, begging the President and Governor to find a way to bring them home within the shortest possible time. The captives expressed fear that a direct military assault on the camp where they are being held could result in the deaths. They echoed the Bosya apparent sentiment, asking the government to use the same negotiation channels used in northern states like Zamfara, Katsina, Kebbi, Sokoto and Kaduna states. While the terrorists claimed in the video that they are not torturing the victims, The captives highlighted that many children are falling ill due to the harsh conditions of the forest and the lack of proper food. Edo State House of Assembly Speaker, Blessing Sheriff Agbebeku has confirmed the killing of Brigadier General Asani Brema, the commander of the 29 Task Force Brigade in Operation Haddon Kai, when the Brigadier General and his troops came under the coordinated multiple attacks launched by the Islamic State of West Africa Province, ISWAP at Benishek community in Kaga local government area of Borno State early morning night on Thursday. An attack the Nigeria Defense Headquarters had on Thursday denied the Brigadier General was ever killed alongside his soldiers, insisting the general was alive until Friday morning. The Edo State House of Assembly Speaker, who is also one of the prominent kinsmen of the high-ranking soldier, announced the death of the Brigadier General on behalf of the people of Owen ethnic group in Edo State. This, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who probably tried to avoid contradicting the statement of denial issued by the Nigeria Defense Headquarters, mourned the deaths and killing of the country's soldiers, by thus, simply and apparently logically stating that, I extend my condolences to the families of our gallant soldiers, led by Brigadier General Asani Brema, who made the ultimate sacrifice in the defense of our country today in Borno State. According to the condolence message made available by the Special Advisor on Media to the Edo State House of Assembly Speaker and a prominent broadcaster in the state-owned Edo Broadcasting Service, EBS, Ivy Adodo Ebejele, the Edo State House of Assembly Speaker, Blessing Agbebeku said, on behalf of the entire Assembly and the good people of Owen Nation, mourns the painful loss of our gallant son, Brigadier General O.O. Brema, who paid the ultimate price in service to our dear nation, Nigeria. His bravery, sacrifice, and unwavering commitment to the peace and unity of our country will never be forgotten. He stood as a shield for the nation and a symbol of courage for generations to come. This tragic loss is not only a blow to the Nigerian army but a deep wound to Owen land, Edo State, and the nation at large. We are proud of his service, even in grief. We extend our heartfelt condolences to his family, the Nigerian armed forces, and all who mourn this hero. May the Almighty grant his soul eternal rest and give us all the strength to bear this irreparable loss. Rest on, brave son of Owen. Your sacrifice will forever speak. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, in a condolence message issued through the Office of the Special Advisor on Media and Strategy to the President, Bayo Onanuga, said, expressed deep sadness over the loss of the brave soldiers of the 29 Task Force Brigade, Operation Haddon Kai, who died in a coordinated terrorist attack on their camp in Benishek. Armed Forces of Nigeria, AFN, has insisted that Brigadier General Asani Brema is alive, after several reports indicated that the commander of the 29 Task Force Brigade in Operation Haddon Kai was left dead alongside several other Nigerian soldiers when the Islamic State of West Africa Province, ISWAP, launched a coordinated multiple attacks on military bases at Pulka, Bakin Ruwa communities in Gwoza local government area and Namdi and Benishek communities in the Kaga local government area of Borno State between the hours of 10 p.m. on Wednesday night and 12 a.m. on Thursday early morning night, killing several numbers of Nigerian soldiers, overran some of the military bases, but the Nigeria Military Authority claimed that Brigadier General Asani Brema and his troops were able to repel the attackers at Benishek, saying, the Brigadier General is alive and not dead, as widely reported in some media platforms. In addition, the Nigerian Defense Headquarters, in a press statement issued a few hours ago by Major General Michael Onoja, admitted that some numbers of Nigerian soldiers were left dead during the attacks but refused to state the total numbers of soldiers killed by the attackers. Accordingly, the army said, regrettably, the encounter resulted in the loss of a few brave and gallant soldiers who paid the supreme price in the line of duty. According to the Nigeria Defense Headquarters in a press release that looked apparently self-contradicting, questionable and somehow dishonest with facts, in continuation of the Armed Forces of Nigeria's, AFN, counter-terrorism efforts, troops of the 29 Task Force Brigade in Operation Haddon Kai came under a coordinated terrorist attack on their location at the brigade headquarters in Benishek, Borno State. The attack occurred at approximately 0:30 hours, 12:30 a.m., on Thursday the 9th of April 2026, as insurgents attempted to breach the defensive perimeter of the military installation. However, the troops, led by the Commander 29 Brigade, Brigadier General Asani Brema, responded with exceptional courage, professionalism, and superior firepower. In a well-coordinated counteraction, the insurgents were decisively engaged and forced to retreat in disarray, abandoning their mission and leaving behind traces of their failed assault. This attack is a clear indication of the desperation of terrorist elements who, having suffered significant losses in recent operations, continue to resort to futile and ill-fated offensives against well-defended military positions. The swift and decisive response by troops underscores the high level of combat readiness, resilience, and operational effectiveness of Operation Haddon Kai in safeguarding critical locations and maintaining pressure on terror. Nigeria President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has given reasons why he could not visit the Angwin Rakuba community, the scene some citizens were massacred by terrorists on Palm Sunday, saying, upon arrival in Jos, the visit encountered some logistical challenges. While the road distance from the airport to Jos Township is approximately 40 minutes, the runway does not support night flights due to the absence of navigational aids. The constraints made it unfeasible to drive into town, meet victims for on-the-spot assessment and return to the airport before dusk. Consequently, state and federal officials decided to bring representatives of the affected community to a hall adjoining the airport so the president could meet with them promptly while adhering to flight restrictions. Swiftly, Peter Obi, former governor of Anambra State and the Labour Party presidential candidate in the last general elections in Nigeria, said, during his visit to Benue State in June 2025, Bola Ahmed Tinubu stopped at the government house but did not go to the actual scene where innocent Nigerians lost their lives. Similarly, in Jos, his engagement ended at the airport instead of at the affected communities. At a time when Nigerians are enduring days without power, our leaders cannot even stay a few minutes without it. Now is the time to stop incompetent leaders, those lacking the capacity and compassion, who prioritize their own comfort over the well-being of the people and make empty promises. On the other hand, Atiku Abubakar, the former vice president of Nigeria and the last general elections presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, demanded President Bola Ahmed Tinubu act as the commander-in-chief of the armed forces and stated how dozens have continued to be killed in Benue State less than 72 hours, another killings in Kaduna State and thousands of people seen running away at a community in Nasarawa State after the president had visited Plateau State and promised such attack wouldn't occur again, according to Atiku Abubakar. I wish to remind President Bola Tinubu to keep to his words that this Angwin Rakuba attack will not repeat itself. It does appear that those words are hollow because barely 72 hours. Another attack in Benue State claimed over a dozen lives. The commander-in-chief should brace up to the challenges of governance. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, through the Office of the Special Advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga on April 3, 2026 in a statement said, President Tinubu's itinerary for Thursday included two main engagements, receiving the Chadian President, Mahamat Idris Deby Itno, and proceeding to Iperu, Ogun State. After Governor Caleb Mutfwang's briefing, President Tinubu suspended the trip to Ogun. Oven, young man who identified himself as a 400-level student in the Department of Statistics at the University of Jos, Unijos in Plateau State, has given accounts how he was told to go and collect the dead body of his sibling on the phone by the attackers who on Wednesday were seen in a viral video that mobbed and stoned his sibling almost to death at an ever-busy road near the permanent site of the University of Jos. Accordingly, he said the victim, who happened to be his younger sibling, is also a 300-level student in the Department of Geology from the same University of Jos. saying, his younger sibling only went out around 8 or 9 on Wednesday morning to resolve issue with his bank account at Terminus area of the Jos City when he came under attack after the driver of the commercial tricycle or keke he entered abandoned him halfway and asked him to find way out for his own escape as the rampaging mobs took over the road. According to the elder brother of the mob victim, who also introduced himself simply as Nando, his younger sibling, already sensing danger, called him on the phone that the keke driver had abandoned him halfway before the junction of his house, that he's currently running on the street towards home, adding, the victim begged him to look for commercial motorcycle or Okada rider to advance towards his direction and wait at their street junction to help him home, but while he made attempt to do as requested by his younger brother, the security operatives in the area prevented him, saying they can't allow him go out because the situation in town was too dangerous. He said while he was looking helpless, he decided to put a call across to his younger brother, only for the phone's call to be answered by the attackers, who spoke to him in Hausa language that they have killed his brother, that he should go to the scene to pick his younger brother's dead body. He said he started crying and a lot of people around started consoling him, while the security operatives at the senior staff quarters gate still prevented him from going out until there is normalcy in the area. He said some sympathizers took him home from the point he was to the university staff quarters, where his neighbors who came in to also console him started encouraging him not to cry again, with the optimism that his younger brother is not dead. He said one of his neighbors thereafter asked him to report the issue at the police station, which they did, and submitted the snapped copy of the victim's student identity card at the police station and returned home waiting for feedback from the police. He said he was waiting on the police for feedback. He decided to log into his WhatsApp group chats, and behold, he saw a video of his younger brother being interviewed at a hospital bed inside an undisclosed medical center, and that was how he knew he was still alive and his whereabouts. It would be recalled that we had reported that it may not be wrong to say lack of proper accountability by the Nigeria police force. It may not be wrong to say lack of proper accountability by the Nigeria police force. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the governor of Plateau State, Caleb Mutfwang, is largely responsible for the daily killings in the troubled Jos City of Plateau State. This is probably glaring on Wednesday when a resident reported with a video evidence of a disturbing situation wherein a man was seen mobbed and stoned to death at a very popular and ever busy road, apparently within the area or near the University of Jos permanent site. Group of attackers, as seen in the video, operated for some minutes, if not up to an hour, used sticks, stones among others, to hit the victim's head until they were satisfied the man would have been dead, while vehicles were seen speeding off and moving away from them with no resistance or timely response from the Nigerian security operatives, even when the worsening security situations and tensions in Plateau State have become of global concern. The Plateau State Command of the Nigeria Police Force, in a statement on Wednesday, only said a disagreement ensued between some youths in Nasarawa Gwom community of Jos North local government area on Wednesday and caused minor tensions in the town, saying, unfortunately, some hoodlums and crisis merchants took advantage of the situation to cause fear and panic among traders and students within the university community. However, the command, in collaboration with other security agencies, swiftly intervened, arrested the situation and restored calm in the area, but the Nigeria Police Force Command apparently kept mute on the now viral video of a man being mobbed and stoned to death in a brutal and highly provocative manner that can cause a reprisal attack, more so, as daily killings in the state are attributed to religious differences. Although some persons said the victim was still alive, but Sun newspaper reported on Thursday morning that 3 persons, including the victim, were killed in the fresh violence that erupted in Plateau State on Wednesday. According to the police press release signed and made available by the Plateau State Police Command Public Relations Officer, Alfred Alabo, following the relaxation of the 48-hour curfew by the Executive Governor of Plateau State, the Commissioner of Police, CP Basiewa, advises members of the public to comply with the curfew imposition, as there will be strict enforcement. In the early hours of today, a disagreement which ensued between some youths in Nasarawa Guam community of Jos North local government area caused minor tensions in the town. Unfortunately, some hoodlums and crisis merchants took advantage of the situation to cause fear and panic among traders and students within the university community. However, the command in collaboration with other security agencies swiftly intervened, arrested the situation and restored calm in the area. Family of Stephen Obum Neme Nwosu has accused the armed forces of Nigeria, AFN led by General Olufemi Oluyede, the Nigeria Chief of Defense Staff, of attempted acts to cover up a soldier who allegedly murdered a young man, Stephen Obum Neme Nwosu, on February 14, 2026, Valentine's Day, along Benin Agbo Road around Amufi Junction in Edo State. This, according to the family member who pleaded for her names not to be mentioned in the press, said her brother was shot dead by the soldier after the deceased refused to hand over his car key to the soldier as demanded, saying, her brother only went out with his friend, she identified as Godwin Koko, to get chicken feed when they encountered the soldier at the failed portion of the road that is currently under construction, saying, the Nigerian army has refused to disclose the names of the soldier who allegedly committed the act of murder or take appropriate lawful actions against the suspected murderer. And in a swift reaction, when our reporter contacted the public relations officer of 4 Brigade of the Nigerian Army, Captain Kennedy Anyanwu, via a phone call on Thursday evening, the military authority said it is not true that the soldier in question has not been identified, saying, the matter has been settled. And when our reporter demanded to know how the alleged murder case was settled with the family, the military authority refused to give details. Also, when our reporter contacted the Edo State Command of the Nigeria Police Force Public Relations Officer, ASP Ino Akodim, the police authority said the matter is under investigation and there is no way such matter can be swept under the carpet. According to the bereaved family member, on the 14th of February 2026 at about 10 a.m., my brother, Stephen Obum Neme Nwosu, went to get chicken feed with his friend, Godwin Koko, along the Benin Agbo Express Road, the failed portion that is under construction at Amufi Junction in Benin City, Edo State. Specifically, the friends said they were discussing and did not see the road demarcation on time, and when they sighted it and were about to reverse, a soldier blocked them and told them to hand over the car key, but they told him that they are sorry and will turn back. So, immediately he started turning the car. That got the soldier angry and the soldier started following him. My brother reversed the car and joined the other lane. And from the side mirror, my brother noticed that the soldier was running towards them, and this time, there were 2 on a bike but 1 left, while the soldier that they had the conversation with was still following them with the bike man. At this point, he started using his belt on the car and even shot at the car. But my brother and his friend were still driving, and when they got to hold up, they packed at a fuel station and started running by foot. While President Bola Ahmed Tinubu of Nigeria has commended the governors of Kaduna and Plateau states after citizens were massacred by terrorists almost simultaneously on Sunday in the 2 states, with the president claiming Governor Caleb Mutfwang contained the situation in Jos without specifically stating what the governor did. Even when armed terrorists successfully invaded and massacred citizens, or brutally and indiscriminately shot sporadically and killed numbers of persons at Gari Yahweh quarters in the Angwan Rakuba community of Jos North local government area of Plateau State on Sunday night, which was also the Christians' last day of the Holy Week of Lent known as Palm Sunday leading up to Easter celebration. Residents said the terrorists raided the community and operated for a long period of time that lasted up to an hour without resistance or any action from government. Some even accused men of the Armed Forces of Nigeria, AFN, of allegedly aiding and giving cover to the terrorists to escape. Specifically, one of the youth's leaders in Plateau State, who spoke with a prominent Nigeria social media personality, Martins Vincent Otts aka Veridarkman, who visited the scene of the crime, said, Nigeria soldiers prevented the youths from going after the terrorists and stood in between the gaps shooting at the youths while the terrorists escaped. But, in a swift reaction on Tuesday, Nigeria Army Authority debunked the claim that the soldiers gave the terrorists a cover, saying, "The soldiers arrived the scene with 4 gun trucks after the terrorists have left due to long distance and acted professionally without stating what the soldiers did professionally before the Sunday massacre." On Friday, in one of the burial ceremonies of the people that were previously killed by terrorists in Plateau State during the Christians' Holy Week of Lent, Reverend Ezekiel Dakamo, while speaking, said, "In this village, Rim in Riyam local government area, alone, we have received attacks from the Islamic terrorists more than 24 times, and many residents said the Sunday massacre was premeditated and the governor and the president apparently failed to put proactive measures in place to prevent the attacks." That aside, almost at the same time on Sunday, another group of terrorists attacked Kahir village in Kagako local government area of Kaduna State, shot sporadically at residents and killed and kidnapped several numbers of wedding guests, a crime, according to Punch newspaper. A resident said the attackers operated freely and successfully up to an hour without resistance, but President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in a press statement on Tuesday specifically said, "I commend Governor Caleb Mutfwang of Plateau State for his efforts in containing the situation in Jos and Governor Uba Sani of Kaduna State for supporting the rescue and containment efforts." Apparently reacting to the worsening security situation in Nigeria.
Osazuwa Radio, bringing you the news in a more digital way.